In this video, we're gonna talk about how you can change your personality. I'm gonna show you exactly what I did to change my personality, going from being shy and timid, lacking confidence and self-esteem, into becoming who I am today, doing what I did, and the profound impact that this had on my personal reality. Because your personality creates your personal reality. So let's go. It's so interesting, isn't it, that so many people think that our personality, how we are, who we are, how we see ourselves, is fixed. It's something we're born into. Maybe it's genetics, maybe it's predefined by those, personality tests and labels that puts us in a box that tell us who we are and what's our strengths and weaknesses and all these kind of things. We are so good at putting other people in a box by telling them, you're like this, or you're not that, this is not you. But we're also very good at putting ourselves in our own box and keeping ourselves there with our stories, our labels, our assumptions, more so than assumptions, our convictions about who we are and who we are not, right? And we take so much pride in this sense of identity, because our ego is so attached with that physical sleeve that we created and attached to this body. So even though we are far more than just a body, all our identification created this box that we live in, this personality identity construct that is known as your name. And when I was young, I saw myself as being shy, introverted, quiet, and all these kind of things. And when you're young and you don't know anything about the world and what those things even mean, you start to simply identify and take those on. And you start to relate to yourself like this and act this way. And then I started to think of myself as being too tall because I'm 1.96 m, which is I think 6'7" or whatever. So I started to think I'm too tall, right? So, I had all those anxious feeling about talking to people, talking to strangers, being around others, simply because I didn't feel like I would be liked for who I am and all these kind of things. So we think we have certain traits, certain weaknesses, certain strengths, certain things that we need to do in order to receive love and be loved and all those kind of things. But all of that create that box that you know yourself. And when you meet somebody who's new, pay very close attention how you introduce yourself. And most people do that very automatically, randomly, habitually. Oh, this is my name, this is what I do, this is where I'm from, and this is all the kind of crap that is true about me. Yeah? So we're using all those labels that we've put on ourselves, right? All those stories of our past and who we are and what we achieved and, who we are. This is me, kind of thing. Look at me, right? All in all, because we want to belong to other people who have their own boxes. And people have different form of boxes, if that makes sense. And so we like people who have similar boxes than ours. And we don't really like those people whose box, belief system, identity, personality, and all kind of differences. We kind of feel like we don't belong with each other. We don't connect. Because like attracts like, right? We like people who are like us. And that's why we exchange all those, identity traits so that we can connect. But again, those traits are not the truth of who you are. When I was younger, I saw myself in a completely different way. If you saw me now versus 10 years ago, you would not believe the difference. I had a lot of pimples, a lot of acne. I was very shy, very introverted, very skinny, very insecure. My energy was completely different. You would not put those two, versions of myself together. What that means is that your physical identity, your personality can be changed. And that is what the law of assumption tells us, is that if you start to challenge all those assumptions that you created about yourself and the assumption that you created about other people, boxes and personality, because we project that, we assume things, everybody's you pushed out, so you project on other people all your stuff, but That's another video. Now, if you start to challenge those core beliefs about who you are, maybe you are, not good enough. Maybe your voice sucks. Maybe you're not beautiful enough, right? Maybe that's the box you live in. That you're too fat, too ugly, not this, not that you manifest slow, that you don't have any talents and ability, that you're just normal, right? Wow, this is almost like some people use this, I'm just normal. It's just me. I'm just like everybody else. Like it's almost this thing where we really want to belong with all those other people outside of us by being normal like them. And we think it's a compliment, but it's only because it makes us feel safe inside that box. Now, I truly believe that we have certain talents and abilities and traits that is innate to us. And that's why we all have different ways of expressing ourselves in this life. Some have phenomenal voices and talents in drawing and arts and painting or sports and athleticism. So we all have those, inner strength and gift that we've been given. And we can allow ourselves to express those innate gifts that comes to us from, a greater place to a strong and healthy personality, because we also know a lot of people with tremendous potential in singing or whatever other talents they have. But because of the personality they created, they are not using and they're wasting those talents and gifts that they have. So this is one way you are keeping yourself away from your full true potential, if that makes sense. So when I started to realize that the personality I constructed, that I'm shy, I'm too tall, I lack confidence, that feeling like other people are better than me, and I started to question those thoughts, everything started to change. Because I started to see them only as beliefs, only as stories and labels I had put on myself. And what I started to do is that I started to create a bigger box for myself. I started to expand who I am, what I can do, what I'm fucking worth, what I want to create in my life, the way I am, my energy. I started to reinvent myself by asking myself the real question of who do I want to be? And that answer has grown over the years, because when I used to be a scuba diving instructor, that answer was very different compared to me moving into the coaching business. So the diving box and then the moving into coaching box was a very different dynamic in terms of who you need to be to create success. But this is also why some people, when they go into a new situation, they feel like an imposter, because without them knowing sometimes, they are breaking the boundaries of the old box. I am just a scuba diver. Who am I to coach people? Those are some kind of thoughts I used to have. Who am I to help people? I'm too young. I don't have any experience. I don't have any clients yet. How can I, all these kind of thoughts were like fighting for me to stay inside my comfortable box. How I knew myself to be, right? But as I was starting to expand and relate to myself in a new way, I gradually broke the boundaries of the old box and I became bigger and then bigger and bigger and bigger, right? And this is an ongoing process. You might be wondering, do we ever get to live outside the box? This just simple answer would be yes. If you get those moments where you are enlightened, where you truly no longer identify with the body and the mind, you have, bypassed the box. There's no box anymore, so to speak. Maybe a topic for another video. But I think for the vast majority of people in the world or watching this video, we still have a box. We still have a somewhat strong identification with the body and with the mind. And we are able to expand that and to know that and to grow, knowing that my mind creates my reality and that my mind influences my body is already a bigger box than when you're completely unaware and just walking unconscious through life, for example. So brings me to the question to, how do I get outside of my current box, full of labels, stories, who I am, the thoughts and feelings and actions that are creating my personal reality? Because your personality equal your personal reality, meaning what you're manifesting, creating, attracting, generating, being, doing, creating in your life. It is so important that you get that. So how do you go to expand this? Well, first of all, you have to be willing to look at your current description of yourself. When I ask you, who are you? What is the first thing that comes to your mind? When I ask you, who are you not? Who do you want to be that you're not yet? All of those things, all of those questions will start to trigger certain thoughts that will allow you to expand your consciousness, the way you think about yourself. And above all, it will start to show you the current limitation that you've placed on yourself. So for example, if you are here in that box and you're struggling with your body image, right? You're struggling with your body image and your self-worth, and you think you're not attractive, and you want to manifest your special partner and manifest love and better relationship, but you just feel so unattractive. You've created a personality that is unattractive because you don't see yourself as being attractive right now. So your energy will reflect that. How you treat yourself, how you show up, how you talk, everything will reflect this I'm not attractive person. Until you start to be like, that is the thought. A strong assumption that became a conviction that created a personality in my personal reality, and I can challenge that thought. And as Neville Goddard says often, you have to assume greater. You have to become greater. You have to challenge the old assumption that you made and create new assumption, and repeat them over and over and over again until the way you see yourself is in a new, I don't like to use the word box because it sounds a bit limiting, but understand that I'm just saying that your self-concept and personality has expanded to allow you to be the container of the life experience that you want to have right now. And that doesn't mean that you get stuck there, because you're constantly going to expand that until one day you might just be able to dissolve the box. All right? That's another video. So how do you do that? Well, when I was aware of my thought, I'm too shy, I'm too tall, all those things that really made me feel very insecure. I was afraid that people would not like me. I was afraid that people would laugh at me because of my acne and things on my, like whatever it's called, pimples, that's the word. So I had to really stop those thoughts. I had to change myself, the way I was seeing myself in the mirror, the self-talk and the feeling had to change. Instead of being shy, I started to tell myself I'm confident, charismatic, and people love me. When people were telling me, wow, you're so tall, and I get that a freaking lot, instead of being like, struggling with words and feeling all insecure and shit, I would say thank you. Thank you for noticing, with a smile. And at first, it felt fake. At first, I had all those crazy thoughts, right? But eventually, it just became normal. Today, I'm still saying thank you when people tell me I'm, tall or whatever. Because that's who I am. I take it as a compliment. Instead of thinking it's a bad thing, I take it as a compliment. I chose to take it as a compliment. And you can do that with anything. You can create, and we all know that. Look, we are like actors. We can pretend to be different. But people say, well, if I pretend, it's not really me. The reason why this is not really me is because you have conditioned yourself for so long that the version that feels normal and real to you is that version that you lived for so long. So of course, as you start to stretch yourself into a new self-concept, into a new personality, it's going to feel a little bit uncomfortable. But that's okay, because it's worth it. So that is the first thing I want you to do. Become aware of the thought that reaffirm the old personality, and start to describe yourself in the way you want to be instead. And you can write down a couple of affirmations, a couple of sentences, a paragraph describing the new personality. Okay, and do that in present tense. That's the first thing I invite you to do. The second thing is that I invite you to go in your mind and visualize being in your mind, being that person, living out that new personality. So if we start to the same example where you felt unattractive and you were afraid they won't like you, you don't like your body, whatever, how would you live? How would you talk to people? How would you, go through the day-to-day life feeling like I absolutely love myself, I feel good, I feel handsome, I feel beautiful, I feel confident about me, the way I look, people love me. Whatever you wrote down in those affirmations, create a scene in your mind and live it. Be that person. Talk, have that energy, create that feeling, generate that feeling, and repeat it over and over and over again. And you can put yourself in different situations. Maybe you can go to work with that new personality. Maybe you can go out dating in your mind if that's what you're doing with the new personality. Maybe you can go into your business with a new personality, walk in the street, looking in the mirror, and reaffirming that new personality until you completely feel that it's normal and you start to act it out in your personal life all day, every day. And what you'll notice is that the moment you change the way you see yourself, the way you used to label yourself, your energy will change and your personal reality as well. People sometimes will tell you something changed about you. What is it? What did you do? You look shiny or nice, I like your energy, whatever. People will notice. You will get evidences in your result, in your attraction, and things happening to support what how you've changed and expanded all around you. So those are my 2 tips on how to change your personality, guys. And that's it. Let me know what you think down in the comment. Share your story with me. Like, share, subscribe. I'll see you next time. Be well.